Your swing trade watch list for Monday the 5th. I'm going to show you the charts and show you what came up on the alerts. The market can go any direction right here. Just because we had a decent little rally during the day on Friday is no indication that we're not headed back down. There's a lot of issues and news stories that are driving this market, not just the tariff. That could have a huge effect next week on market volatility. So there's no reason to be setting up long-term positions right here. You need to wait and see what's going on. As far as day trading, it's an awesome week. We had lots of turns in the market and gave us lots of opportunities to do some active trading, short-term options trades, and things of that nature. But we're going to pull up the chart, show you what we see, and you may can get another run on Monday on some of these, and then they may pull back again. Just need to really watch the market and let that be your factor. That's try to trade with the trend. Start out with a look at the DIA, which is the ETF on the Dow. Midday. This is Friday. Just a 5-minute chart. I was watching it right here, trying to decide what maybe would be the right outcome or stocks to be looking for longs or shorts and so forth. And I posted out on Twitter after this candle actually printed this 243.77 high. It was during this candle, about 1 or 2 minutes into this 5-minute candle, that I posted about, I think it was 55 cents. Yeah, here it is. It was 343.55. I put that out at 10.56, which I was using the same indicator that I use for our subscribers. This is my red zone, green zone indicator, and even though I cross into the green zone, it's not a trade yet until my algos say go long. I don't want to go long early, and so I knew I was sitting right here. That's where that peak was, there right before 11. And at the time, my projection, I can predict what these bars are going to do, and our projection algos were saying 243.55 was going to, if we kept going up right here, we're going to take us in the green zone. But we didn't keep going up, it pulled back. And so when it pulled back, it came back up through. We tried to trigger a green zone right here, and we got that little Z pattern we love to trade. We love to get this pattern right here. We like to come up back into our green zone, pivot across our pivot area, but not actually alerted yet, and get that little pullback, and then you got this breakout. And we trade stocks just like that. That's what we look for on our day trading. That's what we look for on this is actually 25 factor on the market, but we run a 50 factor, 100 factor. This is what we teach. The same thing for taking swing trades, just on bigger factors, and we teach how many factors you'll run. We usually look for a 4 to 6 factor run up, and then sometimes we get this pullback, and then we'll get another usually 6 to 8, even 10 factor on the reversals there. And that's our two trades. That's the only thing we watch for. And we don't watch for this bounce. If I come back so deep, reversing past my pivot area, I don't trigger. If it goes way down here and comes back up, I won't trigger another long, because I know if I've gone this deep into past my pivot area, I know I'm fixing to go into chop, and you can see that's exactly what happened there too. We do two alerts. One is going into our green zone, and then our pullback, if we don't go too deep, to go back on a retracement. And the retracement is the safest and the most predictable of all. And then, like I say right here, when we get this kind of pattern that crosses our pivot area, we know we're probably going to do here and possibly reject, or at least go into a chop. And so we do not alert any kind of bounce down here at all. Even though this did bounce well, that's not our trade. because many times it'll do here and come back and then just come on down, and I don't want to get back in a long yet at that point in time. So this is actually when I put that out, was right here, and it didn't go back up. Then when it pulled back, we came back up through here, and then we knew we were looking for longs in this area on the market. And I put out there a temporary run. Now, I don't know what this market's going to do. We got a lot of things going on that can affect a lot of things. We'll get back on a daily chart. You know, we're still way down here. We've lost a 50-day. We had a probably just overreaction on Thursday, and we just held a little bit. Going over to the S&P, you know, we still got these trend lines down here that I'm still halfway expecting to revisit. And like I said on Friday, we got to get back through this 50-day. That's going to be the key. And you know, we may run up. We may have another good day on Monday for day trading back up into this. We may gap up and hit it and reject it immediately, but I don't think we're headed back up yet. I don't think we're headed up for a long time. We basically may do a lot of chopping in this zone right here for several months. But I wouldn't be especially taking any swing trades unless you got something breaking highs. It's on its own accord with events and earnings and so forth. This is a futures chart on a shorter 25 factor, and it just barely, you know, this was what was going on middle of the day. It's 12 o'clock right in here. Middle of the day on the futures. They didn't move like the ETF did, of course. And, you know, they gave the pullback and the go again. Now, they're technically trying to get a temporary little bounce here. You could get this pullback, hold this little trend line here, which it looks like it's right around 2674 on the ES minis, and you know, we could get a little higher run. But on my bigger charts, let me back up there just a second. I show this going back short though. This is my predictor, 2678.25. If this just went straight down, it could go back red zone at that point in time, or that could be a area that it could actually hold and try to go up temporarily. This is the bigger picture right here, is using my 50 factor. This is in a downtrend, and this is what we teach, is we get this breakthrough and the run down, and then sometimes we'll get this run back up, and we won't exceed our level to stay in the red zone, or if we do, it'd be very minimal, and we would give a reversal alert after it turned back down. We wouldn't give the alert right at the peak, but we run two factors back, minimum reversal to signal a further downtrend. But this has got a lot of work to do, and it's not indicating. My little indicator that makes that trigger price show up over here is reading this is just true and false, and then it predicts out the prices when they are true. I don't even have anything true here yet, so that means I'm 4 factors away from even thinking about turning this up to even. I'm more than 4 factors, so I'm not really looking for it to go a lot further up. So we just need to be careful with what you're looking at on Monday and Tuesday. Get a quick look at the watch list, or you can just pause the video and you have a look at the complete list. These are the daily bulls that broke out the level that they triggered at. And again, remember, we're looking for consolidation, so all these charts won't show consolidation. We will go back and we're going to look at them individually in the quick manner that I'm trying to get set up here. Here's a few bears you had on Friday. Your weekly bull list, and some of these, like DDS, was a gap up. We've been looking at that all week. And then the weekly bear list, of course, grew Thursday. I don't think anything much happened on here on Friday, and you can pause the video again. You can see the ones that are in green had a green day. The ones that are in red continued down. We'll do the little 3-minute tutorial, then we'll look at the charts. This is a mini tutorial on what the lines mean on my charts if you're a first-time viewer or been a while since you viewed. We're scanning on weekly and daily charts for my condition. When this green line is up, it's my bull zone, and when the red line is up, it's my bear zone. You need to be aware of support and resistance lines and what charts do at levels, and that's what these levels are for. Just quickly as I can do this, and we're going to put a video on YouTube getting more from your swing trading charts that'll be more detailed and look at more stocks, how they react to these lines. But the gist of what you see here is this is what I'm scanning for, and as you can see here, this showed up in the bear zone. It did go down for a few days, but these green lines are support, and that's why it fought for a few days, tried to bounce back up, headed back down again, came right back into the bull zone, a bear zone, excuse me, and continued on down. Now the lines, here's what they represent. A green line is a place that a stock went up to and rejected. So as this green line redrew itself every time we made highs right here, and then it stayed across here for reference points, continues the same line here for reference points. Resistance, when you get above it, becomes support. This green line was drawn way back in the history, and when this stock broke above this resistance level, when it came back down, it held it, it held it, it held it, it tested it and held it again and again. That was support. That's why I want you to be aware of what these lines mean. You'll see them on my charts. And then the activity that stocks do, sometimes they go, that's my first target, that's my second target. Many times stocks go target 1, pull back a little, target 2, then they may pull all the way back to 1 and go again if they're continuing an uptrend. In this case, it did the pull back. This blue line is a 50-period moving average. This orange line is a 200. So that's what I want you to be aware of as well. And then I have a pivot system that consists of this blue line at the top, yellow line at the bottom, and my target 1 and target 2. You'll see this particular day this stock gapped down, huge gap down, open way down here. The low on this stock was 169.68. I'm getting that right out of this box over here, and the value of that yellow line was 169.67. Within 1 cent it held that line and bounced that day for a huge bounce. It's not a support level, but it's where I look for stocks to try to hold. It's where I look if I'm short, say from here, this is where I'm looking to get out. I'm looking to move 2 levels, target 1, target 2, going up, target 1, target 2. The pink lines all represent places the stock has gone down to and bounced. This pink line is referencing this last pivot low. So as you're selling down into it, it may bounce again. If you get below it, then it becomes resistance. And that's all these lines mean. I just want you to know what they mean going forward. Thanks for watching the video. Let's get started. Through time, I've got several comments and emails from viewers that don't subscribe to our services but do watch our videos and basically say, hey man, I'm getting some good trades off your videos. I wish there's a way I could contribute, and I don't want to sign up for a membership. So I finally went and made a donation button. You can find it 2 places. On any video, we're included at the bottom. You just click the show more button, and shortly down there you'll see support our channel, a donation through PayPal. You can click right here, pay through or make a donation through PayPal. Any amount you want to put in there is acceptable and appreciated. And then on our website, you can go to daytradersetups.com, press the YouTube menu item. It'll take you to this page, and there's a donate button there as well. And we appreciate that, appreciate the suggestion, and thank you ahead of time for any donations sent. We appreciate it a lot. Quick look at just a couple of intraday charts. When I did a little video for our subscribers on Thursday night, I had picked about 3 to watch for shorts, which none of those really did anything to the short side or long side. And I had 2 longs. One was DLTR, Dollar Tree. I think they got earnings on Monday now. This has been selling off for days, and this was the end of the day on Friday, and so it was setting up on our charts to go back to green zone. And so I was watching it and had it on watch for long. Well, it opened and went back down at the open, and then we were able to catch this trade right here as we got back up in our green zone. One thing we do teach, if we want to draw a trend line, if we got it's called a trend shift. So if you shift in trends, you need to be crossing the trend line. So that's basically what you had at this point, was crossing this trend line from these multiple days here. And we were able to get a nice trade in Dollar Tree in this zone here in the trade room. And then another one I had put on watch was Once. It had this big day coming out of this base down here on Thursday, and I liked the way the chart looked on our subscriber list, so I called this long on that video. Now, I didn't even trade it myself. I missed it. It chopped around here for a long time in the morning and was in the green zone. I just didn't get back on it at the right time. I was on Nvidia, which you trading Nvidia, you better pay attention. But this gave a nice run here and then gave the little pullback on our indicator charts. I'm going to back up and show you how we read those and share what we're about to do on these other videos while I'm trying to short this up here. When I first started our trade room, I'm a momentum trader. I'm not a catch it off the bottom kind of guy, and that's not what we show in our room. And if you like to trade to fade the moves, that's not what we have. And we don't have real low price stocks either. But I kind of got off focus last year. Had a trader, very popular guy, good trader, that came over and started trading in our room, and had a lot of guys that like to follow him, and he did the fades. You know, if it was up real high, he wanted to short. If it was down real low, he wanted to go long. And a lot of guys traded that, and they traded that successfully, and he did as well. But it kind of got myself off focus. Wasn't nobody's fault but my own. That I started trying to find the trades that seemed like most of the new members were wanting to do, and I got my room totally off why I built it in the first place. So I did a recommitment to myself in November that I'm going to get back on what I do and what I do best, and I trade with the trend. I don't try to fade the move up. I try to wait for the pullback to fade the move back up to stay with the trend. So I went in, and I'm not the best in the world at watching the broader group of stocks. I do better when I watch a small group of stocks. So that's what I'm focusing on in the trade room, and I'm focusing solely on what I'm showing you here is 2 different trade setups, long and 2 short, and that is all. That's 100% of all I'm trading. I made that commitment to myself, and as I did, I went and paid my programmers to develop live alerts on the web for a lot of stocks, doing the same thing where people can take the 10 or 12 stocks that they're interested in and filter them down on our website and watch for these same exact setups on the stocks they're interested in. Maybe you don't trade Nvidia. So that's what we've been developing, and you don't even need the trade room to figure those out if you learn how these trade. So I'm trying to share a few of these in the videos as well. And then we're trying to do for our subscribers a subscriber video. We can't look at all of them, just some we focus in on. And this was one of them I focused in on Thursday night, excuse me, for Friday. This is the F50 factor. The bigger the factor, the more moves there are, or the longer, the bigger the move. It's more of a swing trade, the bigger the factor as well. But Dollar Tree, at the end of the day right here, it pulled back right at the end of the close, and a lot of stocks will do that little pullback. But it was just showing that it's wanting to go on the 50 factor into a longer trade. Well, that could turn into 4 to 6 bars on a 50 factor. That's 50 cents a bar. It's how our algos run. So that was going to be, $2 to $4 worth of a move. Well, it opened up, and this is also where it ended the day on the short term. 25 factor was right here at the close. That it tried to go up, and that's where these trend lines came in. These are automatic trend lines, and it had pulled back too. So I was watching for the breakout the next day because of the bigger picture right here on the left chart. Well, it sold off at the open with the market, I guess, and I didn't call a trade. Didn't call a trade down here either. I picked back up on this way up here because it's still red zone. I'm not, short term was red zone, so I wasn't interested in trading it. It came back through on this run up, which this signifies all the way to here now. As it was coming back up through here, it went back green zone on my 50 factor, and that was probably right along in here. Well, I picked it up when it got way up here and saw the trend line. I said, we need a pullback. And most of the time, part of what I teach is it breaks into past the trend shift pivot area, but it hasn't signaled along yet. I look for it to pull back. So right here, it hit this trend line, and it sat there for a long time. I mean, maybe an hour and a half. But I put it on watch, and in the trade room, I came in the room, so this is going to pull back some, and I was hoping it'd pull all the way back down to here, and then we could get that bigger slingshot move. Didn't pull back that far. When it went sideways, I called it back long over the trend line, and we got a really nice trade out of that. And that basically was right back in here. Here's that trend line. So this is where we came back in the long. We didn't try to trade any of this, even though it double bottom. That's not what I trade. Called this trade, and when it got to that trend line, it hesitated here for all this time. This is a 10-minute chart. That's 40 minutes. Took it long when we waited on it, and we took it at the right time, and we got this really nice run. When we got up into this previous day's high, we tightened up the stop and came out right here for a nice run. And then ONCE, I did not trade. But I did give it to our subscribers in the video the night before, and I was distracted, as I say, by NVIDIA. We had several big trades on NVIDIA on Friday, and I just wasn't focused on this chart, but that don't mean they weren't. This stock on Thursday did exactly what I've been showing you. It had broke up through my trend shift area, but had not triggered a long trade, which tells me it should pull back. That's what my algos tell me. Well, that's what it did. It had already done that during the day, and at the end of the day, here it was back up here, and it had triggered the green zone long watch. End of the day right here. Well, it opened up and it sold off at the open. This is your shorter term chart. This is where it closed on Thursday evening. It opened up and sold off, came back up, did the little zigzagging here on the short term, got green zone, and then broke its own, created its own trend line. We do a little Z pattern. There's another alert we put out off the green zone, and it did the Z pattern here. When it came up, it pulled back, kept the green zone green. We were above it. We got back above it, broke its own trend line that it created, and that broke into this trade. And this was a little after 10. You can see here on the time part. And then over here, you had the pullback on the bigger factor. This is your 50 factor. This is a 25 factor. On the 50 factor, it did the pullback and then broke out for this move. Now, this is a huge move. This 50 factor when we get a pullback, we're estimating 6 to 8 factors up. So that's a $4 move, and it exceeded that. And here is the same thing. It's a scenario when you got the little pullback in here. That was this move right here. So as this is in this F50 factor uptrend, it pulls back on the 25 factor and gives a pullback retrace alert right here at about 2 o'clock. That's actually 1:30. And it goes right where it's supposed to. Holds my green zone, and we will give the alert here after the pullback. It has to go back up a minimum of 2 factors. So this is a factor 25 chart, so it's got to be at least a 50 cent off the retrace, and it can't go too deep to get that alert. It held perfect, and it's in the bigger uptrend. There's your perfect reverse for a long entry here shortly after 1:30. So here was your original break in the morning. Around 11:30 gave this run up. It went into old resistance. And that's why we try to share these charts as well with these green and pink lines that we show you on the charts. We share those with our subscribers so they're aware. It went back into resistance, and then it gave us base for a while. It gave us pullback. Well, here's our pullback alert at 1:30. 1:40, it's turning back. And off the bottom there, we had a low of 60.40, so somewhere right around $61, which is right here. That's where our F25 factor gives that pullback retracement long watch alert again. It's done exactly what we want it to do, and then you go over on your chart and you tie it in. Well, look here, you got the VWAP. VWAP's what we teach is inflection points. Open price, that's the blue line, yellow line's the closed price, and VWAP. We all know those are inflection points, as well as old highs and old lows. So this was a perfect alert. If you're watching this, you've already been in it, you want to get back in it, or maybe you're still in it, you want to hold your VWAP. But for the re-alert right there on the 25 factor, the 50 factor was still well intact. And this is what we teach. This is the only thing we scan for, the only thing we alert for. And the things I just covered on those setup charts is exactly what I showed the subscribers at the end of the day from the night before, how this was setting up. So even though this stock is way down here on a daily and a weekly, it's a weekly. Now it ran into resistance here, end of the day, right into some weekly resistance. The high right here was 65.88, and that line is 65.99 on that weekly chart. That's an old highs from back here, old resistance. It's resistance again now. But this is taking a chart that's way sold off on a daily chart and finding a great trade in it. Let's take a look at these charts on these alerts here on the bull breaks and the bear breaks. While you're here, be sure to subscribe to our channel and follow us on Twitter or StockTwits at Daytrader Setups. And our website is daytradersetups.com and swingtradersetups.com. Don't forget, this video is being brought to you by our premium alerts at swingtradersetups.com. They're real-time alerts. They're posted on our website, and we're looking at our bull zone weekly and daily breakouts, and our bear zone weekly and daily breakouts that are in one category on the website. And there are other categories that are more aggressive for the more active trader as well. And by having a subscription to that service, you get all these alerts intraday as they happen, and one subscription gets you access to everything, as well as our chart system. If you would like to get it, I can set you up a couple of different ways to have the green and pink lines available for your charts as you review. Let's go forward. We're going to do the weekly bulls first because there's so less of them, and I want to put an invitation out, even to the traders that were actually following the guy that liked to do the fade moves. That's not what I'm doing. But if you want to look at what I am doing, anybody that paid a fee to me in 2017, even if it was a 30-day $49 trial, if you paid $1 to Day Trader Setups in 2017, I invite you to come back. You email me. It's support@daytradersetups.com. Let me know you want to come back and poke around the website. Look at the alerts, come in the trade room. I'll give you a 30-day free access because I don't think you got your money's worth. And that's open to anybody that paid a fee last year of any sort. On our weekly bull zone, we got this CSOD technology software breaking out on the weekly. Had a really nice daily day here. It's into some resistance area. Really nice bullish on the daily there. And this is not really a consolidation break, but it's back to where it was, and it's starting to pick up some momentum on the daily here as well. It's coming in the daily bull zone as well, and the weekly bull zone. The weekly is a little more of a consolidation, a long time consolidation. So this stock could actually do something on its own. It's not really, doesn't appear to be worried about the market. Dillard's, we talked about this earlier. It had another great day on Friday, another $5 day up. It ran up on the gap up earlier in the week, hit resistance, pulled back. I want you to look right here now. On the day it pulled back, what did it do? There's a little green line, old resistance, new support. It ran into this resistance line, rejected, and came back to this one and held it. That's why you want these lines on your charts. This stock was in the bull zone. It maintained a bull zone even the days it pulled back, but it had gaps so far as the reason it stayed up in there, and then it come back with passion 2 days in a row. That's a $10 move in 2 days right off this support level on Thursday morning. So that's how you can take this video and find you stocks to trade intraday. This your Friday chart, this your Thursday chart on that pullback, and you see the momentum you got in here on Friday on this chart. Another thing we try to teach on our factor system, when you got the market doing some crazy moves, and this applies to the stock as well, so this stock had a crazy move earlier in the week with a big gap up, you need to step up on a bigger factor to watch this for the rebreaks. So this had a crazy move on Tuesday, and so you want to start watching the filters on the website on the 50 factor rather than a 25 for it to come back up. And that's exactly what this did at the end of the day on Thursday. It had crossed back in to the green zone on the 50 factor, and then it just continued right on up into this trade on Friday. This is another prime example of how you use our service. You go in and you filter out DDS if it's in our list, and it is. We have 400 stocks we watch. We can't watch every stock and put alerts out on them. What you had on this pullback on Tuesday below this support resistance area at the close of business, this is our F50 factor, and this is what this had done to close of business. It had already pulled back and it triggered itself into the red zone and gave the Z pattern as well. Before the end of the day, it had bounced and pulled back and closed down here at the low of day. So this is set up to go down the next morning. You know it's got to, and it may even come back up here and reject again, but it just started off and just sold off, a huge sell-off. Now this is a breakdown on our 50 factor, which can indicate from 6 to 8 factors. 8 factors on 50 is $4. Well, right here at the open, you were somewhere around 82.50, and this went down to $78. That's $4. That's what we teach. What it did by the end of the day on this huge bounce. Now, we don't try to trade this bounce. Although, if you had my charts and you were short of this, you would know when you got to this support line. The low of that day was 77.39. That line's at 77.70. So you know you went down and pinned that line, and when you came back up, one, you know going down it might be time to get out of your short and capture your gains. It's also moved the predicted factor. It's probably going to bounce on that alone. That don't mean it comes back up here, but it means it's probably time for it to make another work its way back and forth as stocks do as they cycle. But what it had done by the end of the day, you could have taken that if you wanted to there, of course. People that like to do those kind of trades, there's your setup. If you got the line on your chart, you say, hey, this may really bounce right here. I'm going to give this a shot. I'm going to reverse my position. But here's what this chart had done by the end of the day. We've been showing you this on a few others. We break through our trend shift area, but we don't signal a green zone trade. The reason we don't is I expect it to pull back. It breaks through, pulls back, tries to go again, pulls back, and even when it tries to go again, it never signals a long. We don't signal the long until right up in here. So now it's signaled this long, and this is before the end of the day. So at the close of business, this is already headed up. It's gone into the long on the F50 factor, and you generally will get a run and get a pullback. That first run is generally going to be 4 to 6 factors. Well, from the low down here, by the time it came back up here, you've got $3. That's 6 factors. From the triggers, about 4 factors up. So the end of the day, it closed at the high. The next morning, it pulled back about $2. That's 4 factors. It bounced again and headed up, and we teach this: when it bounces, we like to get a reversal of 2 factors. So after about $1, around $82, I'm expecting 6 to 8 factors. This stock well exceeded that. From 82 to 86 is $4. That's 8 factors. And you see when it got about that far, it started doing some chopping. These are our active trader setups. You can take these same stocks and put them on your watch list for your daily watch list for day trading. You can get into options trades. We got one guy in the trade room that's trading options and doing really well just watching the stocks that we're watching in the trade room. And I don't watch everything that's out on the internet. I can't see them all. I can only focus on what I can focus on, and that's what you need to do. But you can find list of stocks that maybe we feature or you see somewhere else. If it's in our 400 core list, you can come in and know that you can filter that stock out on our website, find the alerts that go off on that one stock that you're interested in, or make yourself a list of 3 or 4. If you try to come in and watch alerts off on 400 stocks, you're never going to make a dime. You're going to stay too distracted. You have to get focused on what you're focused on, and then we can provide you with the alerts of the setups that are going to pay you some good money. Got this HYQ still up in the weekly bull zone. It had a little pullback on the daily, and it's back at this resistance line, so it may not can go any further. I'm not sure how strong this stock is or why it was way up. This is a daily now, ran up for 4 days, and now that it's pulled back, it's sitting here at this resistance line, which is going to be the high. That candle right there, $55.31. MCK basing for 4 days here. It's in the weekly bull zone. It's not a consolidation break. T-Doc, this is probably a consolidation break of some sorts on the weekly. It's gaining momentum and starting to break out. It's had the momentum, which is our little yellow bar here on the bottom, for about 4 weeks now. Even on this, 3 weeks now, 3 complete weeks, and it's breaking out very well, picking up momentum. And this has been on the alert for several days now. Had 340 day up on Friday. So it hit the alert for several days ago, so it hit the alert along on this day, and you see this big pullback it did, probably in the market turmoil, but it went right back to what it was doing and had a really nice engulfing day on Friday. That's about a $4 move there. Now, whether this is a stock we actually monitor on our $69 a month subscription, I'm not even sure. I have to go look myself. You can go over to swingtradersetups.com. This is the home page you'll land on, and right on this page, if you got a couple of there's a guy that actually sent us a nice little email his first week in. You can click on the subscriptions page, and right on that page here's our list of stocks. We run about 475 symbols. We got a core list of 400. That's where you can expect scans to be on those stocks. The other symbols that we leave ourselves open to might be some earnings plays, something we might pick up on this list we're looking at today and put in on some movers list and so forth. But that's the core list of stocks. You just click on that and it'll take you over to this page right here. And this is not a media file, it's just a text file, and you can click right here on download this media. It'll give you the text file on the 400 stocks we scan. Okay, next we got VEEV. This has been on here for several days. You had a slight gap up, but just a really big move. From the time we brought this out on the weekly bull zone, this stock's up $10.14 from that level. And it's had a little inside day, had a huge day, and we triggered it right. Now this is a daily right here. We're on a daily bull zone as well. Up about $5 off that alert. Here's your weekly chart. It actually cleared down here just under $64, $63.63 right here in your area, in your column, I mean. And so now it's had that $63 level was way in the gap up area. So once it gapped up, it was long that day. Huge move inside day, and another great big move next day. Great trading vehicle there. That's why you use this list to create you a day trading watch list. VRTX on the weekly is back up to where it was before. It's worked its way back up after the sell-off, and this stock is probably poised to break out even more. We got a lot of bears, so we're just going to toggle through and try to move these very quickly. Again, watch the markets. Nobody knows exactly where we're at, what's going to happen. I still think there's a high probability we go down some more, and you got a lot of stocks indicating that on this weekly bear zone. But you need to look at your daily charts. This is a daily here, and see, are we progressing? Check your support, resistance, and things of that nature. This stock on a weekly is losing this area here that's pretty important, and it's trying to stay over the 50 week, but it's having a hard time. Remember, as we toggle along, you want to be looking down at the bottom. One, you're trying to see, are we breaking from a tight consolidation like this one's not? And two, you're looking for this red line, hopefully being the first area, and not, if it's way sold down here, then the trade is already passed. In this case, it came in along in here, it's laid sideways, and it is got a new bear zone, and it's took it out this past week. So it is progressing along, and it's got this support line. That's what you want to be looking at, is are we at a support or resistance line? That's your green and your pink lines. And are we way deep into a trade that's already initially been found earlier, which in this case, that's not the case. and I'm just going to bring them down through here real fast. We got 39 stocks to chart, and I'm going to try to do them in less than about 8 seconds apiece. This one's a pretty good consolidation break. You are at support resistance here. He's picking up acceleration into this move, and if it breaks down here, it could do some pretty good downside. Another consolidation break here, starting to build the momentum into this, and it's got room to go down here. Great example of one that's well into the move, as indicated way back up here. You're also down here at some supported areas. Now that don't mean it don't go a lot more down. That's a pretty big week down this past week, and I believe that was off our earnings that were probably not received well. So it probably has some more downside. It may spend a week here in this area on the support resistance line. This is pretty assertive breakdown. It's not really consolidation. It's got a lot of ump to it. Picked up the momentum last week, and then this week just really accelerated. And you do got a support line here that this really needs to hold. If it breaks down here, there's some substantial downside available here. somewhat of a consolidation break. I think this is down on earnings, pretty strong. A big gap down 2 days ago. You don't see the gap down here. We've discussed this in previous videos. You're sitting on this support line, and if it loses that support line, which is 32.57, you're going to probably have some more downside. This is a consolidation break that started several weeks ago and accelerated more. Now you notice when it went down, this was a support line on the weekly, and it did hold there. So that's a strong sign, but it's probably just a big bounce off that sell-off on Friday. It got gapped down further, went down into these support lines that are the same lines you're seeing on that. They're lining up. Now these are where it's bounced before on the daily. It's been here. It's pink because it went there and reversed before. On the weekly, you're seeing an old high from back here that was a little resistance for a time period. It got through it, and then it held that across here in this base for several weeks, so it became support, and now that's why you're seeing that pink line on that daily chart is representing these weeks of support right here. And we're back to the top of the list. We'll get the dailies and do the recap and wrap this up. We're going to do the bears first because we only got two. Got this RDUS gap down somewhat and then sold off pretty hard on earnings. And it's taking out these lows here. Does have this support area right here, and it pretty much held that. That number's $31.58. That's just, it held it today. Being alpha earnings, it's going to be hard felt to hold this right here. You have to see what it does, but may base for a day or two. RH continues down in this downtrend it's been in for quite a while. Ever since the sell-off in the market started, actually before the sell-off in the market, and then it's just accelerated more, and it's down in this level of support right here. That number $79.91 is an old high that was resistance at a point, serving as support here now, and it has bounced there since then at $81. So it's got to get back over 81, but right now this is the struggle. It did hit the 200-day on Friday. Within 3 pennies, it bounced off the 200-day. So they stepped in right there. This is also on a weekly chart. It comes in on my target 1 right here, almost perfect. That number 77.01. The low is 76.63, so that's pretty close on a weekly. Daily bulls. Just resuming actually what already started. This is what we want you to see. This is not something new, although it is breaking out of this last consolidation, and that was a huge day. This looks pretty good on the weekly chart as well, and really don't think this is trading anything to do with the markets. Up $1.91 on Friday. AMBA had a big day on Friday off of earnings, up $6.15, and this was a little gap up, but it was a huge move during the trading day. It hit the 200-day, hit the 50-day. My guess is this could obviously gap above this on Monday morning, and you want it to hold here if it does and give an explosion off of that. If it does do a pullback or a gap down, I'm kind of thinking 49, 50, 60 area would be a spot. And if you look at it on a 30-minute chart here, that'll line you right up with this old resistance area at 49.92. So that would be pretty likely to come back. If it does a pullback, this is where you want to hold. This is the high of the several days of basing it did down here. And so that was temporary resistance, and now that could serve as support if we get this pullback. And that lines up on some of my other charts as well. Get this back on the daily. Pretty strong day. Not making all-time highs, but making new recent highs and breaking out of this consolidation area. And this is the first time you got this on a bull zone. Got BC gapping up into the bull zone, so it's not it did break this consolidation. Just have to see what it does here. It's sitting on support, which was an old high that it broke through, was resistance for a while. It held it in here. On this day, it opened up there, big day, and something's driving this jump. Could have been earnings, I'm not sure. I don't think so. But it's where it needs to hold. If it holds here, it's setting up nicely on the charts. EDIT, it is definitely in a consolidation on this daily chart, and this is the first bull zone it's shown in quite a long time. Just barely touching in here. It's got some resistance areas up here above it, but it's the first sign of trying to do something. Need a follow through day on Friday. Definitely be worth the stock to be watching on Friday. Now, probably not much of a day trader. This stock I don't day trade. It gets pretty erratic, but it is kind of back at the level of picking up a little momentum. Big day on this stock on Friday. Got to be news related, you would think, or earnings driven. I don't know about the earnings. Big day. That's a $4 day on a $17 stock. MDCO into your 200 day here. Pretty much a consolidation area that's trying to show its first signs of trying to break out. Definitely got to get through here and then back through this recent high at 35.32 area. Little gap up on this stock. Definitely not a day trader. Pretty strong on the weekly for 3 weeks in a row from this area down here. This is a classic example of support resistance. Ran up, pulled back, held support, and then blasted off again for a $10 move in the last 3 weeks. Didn't really care about what's going on in the market either. There's your Netflix weekly at all-time highs. That's equivalent of about, what that thing do, a 7-to-1 stock split? That's $2,114 on Netflix. It was $68 about 3 years ago. Big week. What it does, I have no clue. Earnings pop $18 day. This came small gap up and just accelerated from $88 to $102 in a matter of a couple of hours. Probably was super spready right in here and probably had a lot of range, but once it got out above this old high, held that for support, and just extremely strong day. And of course, this thing's just been accelerating for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. There's just no stopping this stock, it seems like. I'm sure there's probably a short interest, just keeps getting clobbered. Probably could have been a good day trader on Friday. It was an earnings stock. A lot of times this stock is very, very hard to trade in these other days that are not event driven. NOW, another big mover, broke into our bull zone way back here on the 16th. and it's been in there ever since. So this is just a repeat coming back into the new bull zone that's been created on this uptrend. Just picking up a little more momentum again where it lagged out for a few days. A big monster move. We originally alerted this back on the 16th of February. PBYI coming out of this long base down here just enough to trigger a bull zone break out of this base. You got this support line down here that's now your resistance still at 71.14. It's been testing like here. That particular high was 70.90, so it's still there. It hasn't got through it yet, but it's a big engulfing day. Another stock that we originally brought out back here on the bull zone, been sideways in a chop, rebroke those levels, and now into the newly calculated higher bull zone, trying to pick up momentum again. RP, real choppy, just coming back up to this level, not near as impressive as last couple. Gap up 3 days ago, has been sitting here for 3 days right on the bull zone area, and it's finally closed high enough to be above the bull zone. This is not a consolidation break, obviously. Shutterfly has been up here for quite a while. Now getting a little momentum break from this original big gap up. This was our earnings stock, gapped into the bull zone out of this pretty long consolidation. You do got weekly resistance coming in overhead up here at 106.15. SRPT, I believe, was another earnings stock. Not positive on that. Went up into the bull zone back here, followed around this resistance support area, held well, and then a nice break day today. T-Dot we talked about earlier on the weekly. UHS monster day, Friday up $8. Open, went out and retested the 50 again in this support line right here, and then it just exploded throughout the day back to these highs. This is not a tight consolidation, but it is a break from this pretty long weekly run here. Here's your daily, pretty tight consolidation for quite a while. Just a huge day on this stock. I'm sure that had to be event driven. That stock can make those kind of moves are always worth watching, especially when they're down here in these low areas. You guys that watch these high short stocks or high short interest, this may be a candidate. I'm not sure about that. It'd be something worth looking at. And this stock's been in a weekly break and re-breaking here, and I need to go back on XON. I was looking at the weekly for whatever reason. I'm sorry. That's your daily though. The daily was the huge candle. I was looking at the weekly chart a moment ago. And UHS, here's your daily. I had it on the weekly as well, all those three. So that was the weekly 50, not the daily. Was the daily 50 as well, it appears, but big day on Friday. Do the quick recap grid and shut this down. Kind of long video. It's a weekend. Maybe you got more time to watch. Your weekly bears going back 5 days. Today, yesterday, day before, prior day, fourth day back. Showing you what's still in the bear zone with the check marks. Still maintaining trend stability to the downside. Of course, some of these you can see were green days. A lot of little low range days here, so you may have to figure out what that's going to do. All these had green days from Friday's, Thursday's bear breaks, so they have to be watched, even though these two still show to be in the bear zone. And then we'll take a look at the bull recap. Got a little bigger list. This is your Friday list. We just went over all those. Bull breaks on CRM, of course that was earnings. And you can see once was my pick of the day, ended up 643 over our bull break, 556 on Friday. This was our pick for our subscribers. We talked about earlier in the video, VVE we talked about, still huge days running along on that. T-Doc another $3. On Tuesday we had this 2 days ago on your breakout list. DDS was a gap up. Big day again. We brought it in on Tuesday, which you could have figured that out on your own with a gap up on earnings. Continued to stay on our list and continues to go up. And then the last 5 days back were these stocks over here on the very end. You can pause the video, you get a close look of all the charts, and these are the ones that still remain in the bull zone. Here's another that's up only $4 from where we triggered it. I think we had this on the video too, continuing on up now. It had originally, this profit is based on the original break back here 4 days ago. Now this is recalculated higher, and so it'll recalculate Monday from this point forward on the new list over here. Thanks for watching our video. Subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Twitter and StockTwits.